Hey, fellow babies, welcome back to Pachter Factor on SIFTD.net. I'm Michael Pachter, your host, your unpaid host. I'm doing this out of the goodness of my heart because I actually like staying current with all your brilliant questions. I hope you like staying current with my brilliant answers. If you are able to support Shane, who incurs great personal expense to make this happen, we'd appreciate your patronage on Patreon. If you do that, you are getting this real time. As soon as we post it, it is available for you. You can also get it real time if you're a subscriber to our YouTube channel. So appreciate it if you are doing that as well. In any case, if you are or are not a subscriber, please try to remember to link your Twitch Prime account to your Amazon Prime account. Shane will get paid for that. Twitch generously pays a couple bucks a month to anybody who remembers to link their account. So the instructions on how to do that are in the show description below.
This episode of Pachter Factor is brought to you by DeShazer Ryan Realty. Right now, Doug DeShazer has beautiful lots available adjacent to Kookanusa Lake in northwest Montana. Pull up your RV and access the hookups, or build your own construction. Either way, you have access to world-class fishing, hunting, boating, swimming, biking, hiking, and the internet. No matter where you're looking to buy, make Doug DeShazer your real estate consultant at 406-291-1643. That's Doug DeShazer at 406-291-1643.
From Patreon, from Tarma, Baldur's Gate 3 is now the highest reviewed game of all time. Is it like 100?
It passed
over 97?
It's like 98. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome! Wow, yeah. I looked early and I saw them all, but I didn't realize. That's cool. It's now the highest reviewed game of all time. This has led to some developers telling fans they shouldn't expect their game to be as good. Is this correct? Baldur's Gate had 400 developers working 6 or 7 years. Seems like a lot of games have bigger budgets, so why are they saying they can't make a game that's as good? Baldur's Gate is selling very well, so the financial incentive is there. I'm pretty confident that no other game is going to be as good as the best game of all time. And I'm going to be right until the next best game of all time. So, for the next 10,000 games, odds are it won't be as good as the best game of all time. I think this is like saying, Michael Jordan or LeBron James or Kobe Bryant were like the best basketball player of all time. How come the next guy isn't going to be the best basketball player of all time? Maybe he doesn't have the skills. Those guys, and LeBron and Kobe had quite a bit of overlap, but before Michael Jordan was Dr. J, and before Dr. J was Kareem, and before Kareem was Jerry West, and we've always had a stud. I'm better on Lakers, that's why I named a bunch of Lakers. But we've always had like one guy who's the best, and if you look at quarterbacks, like Joe Montana was the GOAT, and then Tom Brady was the GOAT, and now I don't know who it is, Joe Burrow or Patrick Mahomes or Josh Allen are the GOAT. It's like there's only one who's the best. And why is it that Baker Mayfield, who won the Heisman Trophy, isn't as good as Josh Allen, who went to frickin', Montana State or something? I don't know where he went. Someplace like Wyoming State or University of Wyoming. Why is that? And the answer is because Baker Mayfield doesn't have the tools that Josh Allen has, and he hasn't improved as much as Josh Allen has. So when you ask, why can't, Diablo be better than Baldur's Gate? Yeah, the Blizzard developers who made Diablo are great, but they're not as great as these guys that made Baldur's Gate. Like, I don't know. What's the magic? What makes it so good? I don't know. If I knew, I'd make video games. I have no idea. Now, my understanding is, I haven't played the game yet, it's attention to detail. It's like every single thing you do is just designed perfectly, and everything works, and it's fun. Boy, fun. How do you program fun? I got asked a question about AI and AI replacing video game developers, and I'm like, AI can't make something fun. They can make it pretty. If you say, I want pink flowers everywhere, AI can do that. But no, it can't make it fun. I don't know how you make anything fun. I don't know how you make people smile. I don't know how you make people scared. Baldur's Gate is the right game at the right time, made by the right people. And it's stupid to say don't expect our game to be as good as the best game of all time. of course your game's not going to be as good. It is wrong for anybody to tell you that you should lower your expectations for any game. That's wrong, right? But I think what's the flaw in the video game business is that you don't pay more for the best game of all time. It's $60 or $70, and you can buy a piece of for $60 or $70, or you can buy the best game of all time for $60 or $70. You can buy a 10-hour game for $60 or $70, or a 200-hour game for $60 or $70. So that's the flaw. And if you think about anything else, houses, you want a house on the beach? Well, it costs a lot more than a house in the middle of nowhere. You want a 3-story house with an indoor swimming pool? That costs more than a 2-story house without, period. You want a 100-point wine? That costs more than a 90-point wine. Sorry, it just does. You want prime steak? Costs more than choice steak. So just get over yourself. Like, you should be delighted, and I'm not suggesting you, Tarma, are at fault for this. You should be delighted that in your lifetime, the best game of all time came out, and play it. I had a 40th birthday promise I made to myself that I would read every Pulitzer Prize winning novel in history, and I did. And I have to say, half of them, I had no interest in reading them, but I did it because they were Pulitzer Prize winners, and I liked all of them. And of the half that I had no interest in reading, 2 or 3 jumped out at me as among the best books I've ever read in my life. A bunch of them were great, but 2 or 3 really jumped out at me. And in particular, the book Rabbit Run, which I read the description, sounded like the most boring book ever. I'm going to tell you now, don't read it till you're 40. It makes no sense when you're 20. But read the entire Rabbit series, and they're all like 250 pages, so it's pretty easy reading. What's the guy's name who wrote it? John Updike. What an amazing writer. Oh my God, he's so good. But read those books, and you're just going to go, wow. So my point is that you're living in an era where you can play Ocarina of Time, you can play Tears of the Kingdom, you can play Baldur's Gate, you can play Grand Theft Auto. You could spend the next 2 years playing only 95 rated and above games. How fortunate are you? And so, do you believe in Metacritic scores? I do. I'd say there are games that most people like and some don't. There are games like Elden Ring that everybody likes, but that's just too hard for mere mortals, so I get why you wouldn't play it. There are games, Baldur's Gate might be one for me, where I just don't like slashing, sword fighting, dragon games. They don't excite me. I find it tedious, but I like space games. I like any game with a gun. The right answer to this is these guys raise the bar. These guys put everybody else on notice that this is what consumers want. And fortunately, this thing costs the same as a piece of crap. So you could buy that for 60-something Metacritic, or you can buy this 90-something Metacritic for the same price. Buy this one. So I think that's really great. But it raises the bar. And I think gamers should expect all games to be great. The truth is, for $70, you should expect a Metacritic above 80. And I'd say it's really reasonable to cut off and don't buy anything below 85. Just don't. If you do, you should expect there's going to be some flaws in the game. And 85, if you kind of go look at what everybody considers to be good games, 85. That's good. I would exclude recurring franchises like FIFA and Madden. Those games tend to get 82, 78s because how much difference is there this year from last year? Call of Duty tends to get low 80s. But other than recurring franchises, a new IP, new franchise, Diablo, you would want that to be an 85 to invest a lot of time in it. But again, no, don't think just because somebody has 400 developers working on a game, it's going to be the best game of all time. The one exception to that statement is Grand Theft Auto 6. Rockstar has, God knows how many really, probably 500 core and 900 or 1,000 total developers who are working on some aspect of that game. You may have noticed the last one came out in September 2013. So it's fair to assume that it will not come out by September of 2023 because they haven't announced it yet, and September's next month. It's going to be in development for more than 10 years, likely 11 or 12. And who knows if it's coming next year. 12 years, 1,000 people, and a predecessor that got a 97 Metacritic. GTA 6 has a shot at beating Baldur's Gate. I don't think you're going to get the Rockstar guys saying, don't expect that from us. I think the Rockstar guys are motivated. They see this, they're like, ours is going to be better. And God bless them. That is how everybody should be. Everybody should say, you guys are paying me to do what I love doing, which is make games for you. I'm not letting you down. And Rockstar has that attitude. And God bless him. I know a lot of people don't like him, but Strauss Zelnick is a great CEO because all he cares about is delighting their customer. He cares more about that than he does about making money or rewarding shareholders. And because he's got the enlightened view that if you delight your customer, good things are going to happen for you. He's right. So GTA 6, 11 years waiting, maybe 12, it's going to be great. And I would I bet that it's better than Baldur's Gate? No, because every GTA wasn't the best game of all time. I think two of them, two of the last 5 were the best game of all time, and the other 3 weren't. So hit and miss, because what's the difference between a 96 and a 98? I don't know. I mean, and one glitch could be fatal. Thanks for joining us this week on Pachter Factor on SIFTD.net. We appreciate your patronage. If you're a Patreon patron or a YouTube subscriber, you're getting it real time, and Shane is able to continue to produce the show. So thank you. It's not benefiting me at all, but he is staying afloat barely, so we appreciate that. Please remember to link your Twitch Prime account to your Amazon Prime account. The instructions are below, and you got to redo that every month or so. So please try to remember to check and make sure that you're linked, because we get paid and it costs you nothing. If you're watching this a week late on YouTube because you can't do any of those things, follow me on Twitter at Michael Pachter. I will see you guys next week.